I'm Scott Trout, CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. We help men deal with the life changes triggered by divorce, such as child custody and property division, among many others. But life changes also occur after divorce. These changes can make parts of your existing court order irrelevant or harder to follow. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell. We're a partner men can count on.
Contact CordellCordell.com, 1065 East Hillsdale Boulevard, Suite 310, Foster City, California, 94404.
You sound so sensual.
Yes, I was doing Capital One commercial reads this morning.
So you're ready to go for radio. Warmed up!
What's in your wallet?
You're listening to Nearly Informed.
Nearly Informed brought to you today by Capital One, What's in Your Wallet? I'm going to force endorsements onto the show. It's going to be our first sponsored days, Ryan Dalton Tuesdays.
That's right. Sponsors brought to you by Donuts.
Well, I want you to start doing live reads for us. Like, I had an idea. By the way, Ryan Dalton in today. I'm Brian Moote. So I just assume if you're listening to the show, you already know. You know who it is. I want to do, and I pitched this to 1-800-Flowers and like all those flower companies. I want to do a flower endorsement on radio in Los Angeles where I actually give away the flowers to like cheating husbands and stuff.
Wow.
You know, like
in person?
Well, no, it's a promo code, right? But do like a voice read, a commercial read where like, hey, for once, actually, I'm not trying to bust you cheating on your significant other. It's Brian's roses. I don't care if you give them to your mistress. You know, you can use the promo code Brian for your mistress, your wife, some girl you work with who you think likes you. All of them. I don't care. The code works for everything. I'm not going to try to set you up on a radio bit and prove that you're cheating.
Right. Save a few bucks and you're a scumbag. Why not?
Yeah, I'm not
You're
here
going to spend the money anyway.
I'm not here to morally judge you.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest commercial you've ever done on like commercial audition or read you've done?
Oh, man.
Like if you've done anywhere, you get the copy and they're like, oh, Cialis, what do I care?
I had to do, I had a 1970s Phil Donahue impression.
Like Phil Donahue from the Donahue Talk Show?
Yeah, Phil Donahue. So I YouTubed Phil Donahue. They didn't want like a... they didn't want a person. He became like a cliche of himself towards when he got in a stride in the 80s.
Right.
So they wanted him
not as much so as like Springer and Maury.
Oh yeah. But he was the quintessential talk show host. But he had a cadence, and you could easily kind of make fun of like a Howard Cosell impression.
Gotcha.
You could kind of just zip into it. So they wanted something earlier, and so I looked at YouTube videos and I just did them, and I got as close as I thought I could. And I thought it was for a commercial, so I'm watching True Detective, and that was the soundbite.
Oh, no way!
I didn't get it, but I was like, and I went to Ashley. I was like, hit pause. I'm like, I read for that.
Dang! Did you think that they did a better job than you would have done? Or?
Yeah, he sounded identical. I mean, I give credit where credit's due. I mean, I've heard commercials like there's a Taco Bell campaign that's running right now, and I was like, I read very similar to that. Like, I feel like
Crunchwrap Supreme.
Everybody wants. It's funny because
they try to make fun of it.
They're like, we want you to be natural and upbeat. We don't want an announcer, and then you'll hear it, and it's like totally announcer voice.
I've only heard myself. Well, I mean, aside from radio commercials, those don't really count. When I do like the reads for, you know, the various sponsors I've done over the years. And sometimes, man, I remember the first time I ever did a radio commercial, they were like, hey, you know, you don't have to lie to the customer. Because I was like, I drive a Kia Sportage. It's my favorite car I've ever been in.
I've heard those all the time.
You don't drive a Kia Sportage. I've never been in a Kia Sportage.
A Buick LeSabre is the best automobile ever made.
Oh, Buick, not your grandma's car anymore, I'll tell you that much. So, I mean, I've done... I did some Amazon voiceovers that really I felt like the woman who did the original Siri. Because, so there was a woman who did the original Siri voice. She comes in, she does, just reads for hours and hours. Basically just reads a dictionary. Just like word by word by word, and they code it and do all the voiceover for it and stuff. And then they were paying her a day rate. Like whatever per session she'd come in, and they ended up updated as they, you know, were beta testing Siri. And, like, basically she became the most recognizable voice on the planet and only made, like, $5,000 doing it.
Oh, my God. That's robbery.
It's insane, right? Because they're paying her a day rate. And then eventually they had to switch to an actual, like, robot Siri. I don't even think they use, like, a real person. But the original Siri was an actual woman. I felt the same way. I did this Amazon... I got booked for an Amazon commercial from LinkedIn. I think some guy hit me up from Amazon in Seattle when I was up there. And I came in and I did all these different reads for Amazon Prime Student. So across the country, on every like radio-oriented platform, it was me going like, and the best part is you order online, then you go pick up at one of our convenient locations or just something stupid like that. And some lady was like, she hit me up, emailed me. She watched a stand-up clip of mine just recently. She goes, this is so crazy. You just did this joke about teaching little kids and like putting one in a headlock and when, like a kindergarten kid who pissed his pants. Like she's like, when someone sums up one of your bits and you're like, all right, come on, stop.
Yeah.
Like that one bit where you like, you're beating up a kid who pissed his pants. It's like, that's not the joke. She goes, this sounds super crazy, but did you do some Amazon stuff for college? Because my friend and I watched your video and we're like, that's the guy who was doing the thing who was like Mr. Amazon.
Right.
And she's like, that's so cool, you're Mr. I'm like, I'm not Mr. Amazon. They paid me $200 to do all those reads.
Yeah, like I'm looking, the thing is I'm actually reading for some big companies. Like I had a Capital One read today. It's an audition, but I'm like excited because I want to see how much money it pays, but I'm going to find out it's way less than I can possibly imagine, even though I'm in the union.
See, when this show takes off, Ryan, when this show really takes off,
it hasn't already.
It's on it. It's like budding. It's like on the. You can just feel it on the horizon. It's like it's like the anticipation of Game of Thrones season 7, where the White Walkers are coming.
Yeah,
that's the show. But when we finally topple the wall, you're gonna do all the imaging for the show. You're
very excited.
Nearly informed. You can say whatever you want about anybody.
This is good rehearsal.
Yeah,
for that.
We'll have you be a live.
Warm.
We'll have you be a live imaging guy.
Do you know they let me in the building? No problem. They just let me back here today.
Oh wow!
Can you believe that? I was literally like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I didn't trust him to trust me.
You're like, there's some cool stuff back there. What if you just start wandering around? It's a big deal when you get to the point where radio.com front desk where they're like, we know where you're going. You know where the office is, right?
Right.
And they just let you walk through.
I thought that was really cool. I said hi to some people I met before. Hey, it was good to see you.
Hey, I'm back. What's up?
Yeah. And they're like, who's this guy? Call security.
Get him out of here. We got a fun show today. I want to talk about dog sitting and the dog sitting ethics. The ethics of dog sitting. I also want to talk about, and I don't think we've ever talked about it, I am trying to do like a probiotics-y stomach diety thing. I don't know what bloating is exactly.
What's going on with your tummy that you need probiotics?
We'll get to it later.
Okay, that's a tease.
That is a long-form tease. I heard about this before we get out of here in the second round. Have you heard about the metal cruise? 70 tons of metal. It's a Miami cruise. It's a week-long cruise, and it's just all thrash heavy metal.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
I mean, and here's the funny part. It coincides with leaving and coming back right around the time of Rolling Loud, which is the hip-hop festival in Miami. They leave from the same place.
Right.
So you've got just metal heads, and the slogan is 70 pounds or 70 tons of metal on the cruise. And I'd never heard of it until someone told me about it the other day. And these aren't like metal bands that you remember. These are like the metal bands that are like, rah, 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 like,
oh, yeah.
Like screaming. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I don't like cruises because I don't like being locked on something with people.
Yeah,
I don't like the idea of it.
Traveling jail.
Do not. I know it's bad, and there's always those there's always those food poisoning cases that happen to everyone.
Or flu goes rampant.
Yeah. No, I've never been. I like the idea of going on like a band cruise. I think that's fun.
Like a band, but like how long? Like 2 days?
Yeah, a weekend. But it's also I don't like being locked into being stuck around so many people. I don't like it.
I feel like the problem is that anytime you go to a concert, you always run into some a-hole you hate, right? Like not someone you knew from your past, but some guy who was like just doing something weird at a show.
Oh yeah, we saw Dave Chappelle over at the Hollywood Bowl, right? And it's completely sold out, huge. There's somebody sitting behind us and this is already annoying as a comic, but this person after every joke was literally like, oh, yeah, because that's why that happens. Oh, yeah, totally true, dude.
Oh, my God, every time.
Every joke.
Really? So true.
I wanted to kill.
True.
I mean, it's like, I want to murder you. These tickets are so expensive, I want to murder you right now.
You're going to see that guy every time. You're going to see that guy the entire cruise. You're going to run into him because that's what happens. And you're stuck on a facility and you can't leave. Like, I've never worked a show or cruise ship as a comedian. something I kind of want to do for some weird torture. But I've heard that no matter what, the most annoying person in the crowd is going to be the one you run into the entire time. Like, you're getting a drink, and you're like, hey, remember me? I made the show better.
Oh, no, you didn't.
The heckle guy who thought he helped.
The funny guy in the bathroom.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, by the
I
way,
hate funny guy in the bathroom. It's the worst.
oh, yeah, like at the urinal?
Yeah, especially in a sporting event. He's like,
Yeah, leans back. Hey, buddy. Yeah, yeah. We're going long right now.
who's taking a dump right now? Come on, man.
I'm not even kidding you. I had a guy this morning at the radio station, and I only know them by their shoes, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. But I was going to the bathroom, was taking a leak, and he goes, "You need a courtesy flush?"
Oh, my God.
And I was like, and he goes, "Yeah, you do, man. It smells awful in here."
No!
This is Nearly Informed with Brad and Brian.
It is Nearly Informed. You can find Ryan Dalton in with me today on Twitter at the Ryan Dalton. Or no, it's Ryan Dalton on Twitter.
Ryan Dalton on Twitter, the Ryan Dalton on Instagram, all other platforms.
Yeah, I'm Moote Comedy everywhere but Moote Points on Twitter. If you Google Brian Moote, it takes you like 9 or 10 pages before you find someone else. And the other Brian Moote now is in prison in Ontario, Canada for arson. He tried to burn a church down.
So it's not going good for him. He's
No.
not going to exceed your
Nah,
success.
I think I got him.
Yeah.
I think I got him on like a...
I'm worried about the other Ryan Dalton. There's another Ryan Dalton comic. There's one. I think there's one
There
in
is?
New Jersey and there's one in Britain.
So there's two
And
Ryan Daltons.
And at this rate, I'm betting that they blow by me because everyone else is. It's a safe bet.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the only thing I got going for me is I got on television before any of them.
That's true. You were
That's
on,
it. But that was also a long time ago, and this is like pre-smartphones. So it's like maybe it's not that safe of a bet. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy? Do you ever think that maybe... So when it comes to like TV and fame and stuff, especially with viral clips and stuff,
Yeah.
do you ever feel like, man, I got on TV too early?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, because everybody's watching everything on their phone.
It's
You
all go
you
viral
can't even
now.
go to Comedy Central and see my clip anymore. It's not even there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I did the same thing initially, where I did a spot for Nickelodeon's Nick Mom's Night Out, and that was kind of really videos going viral and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did the same jokes because they were clean on a special for Dry Bar Comedy in Salt Lake City.
I saw that. It looked really good.
It was great. I mean,
Beautiful the way they film it.
Oh, they did an amazing job. Now, I was about 15 pounds heavier than I am now, going through a divorce at the time, so I was wearing all this Jägermeister in my neck and face. Of course, I'm critiquing like, oh, I look like garbage right there. And I just was like, oh, some of those jokes were just not, they were new and stuff. And, but then those clips, I got 15 million views on 3 clips in like a week.
Yeah.
And I've got more people reach out to me about stand-up and about trying to have me do things from that than anything I've ever done on television. And I've done like TV spots twice. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because there's some people like, I'll go look at the Twitters of famous comics that are famous in my life. Right? Like you look at like Jake Johansson's Twitter and it's like 42,000 people. And you're like, oh my God. And then you look at somebody, some open micer who'd done comedy for like, 2 years. I was young and was on Girl Code.
Yeah.
And they got like 900,000 Twitter
Yep.
followers and they're
Yeah.
selling out theaters
Makes
and stuff.
you crazy.
And you're like, man, you guys had good stuff that just was too early.
Yeah.
Re-release it. Put it back out.
Nobody wants to see that. My old uncle jokes again.
I just heard something. Man, I was listening to it was Dana Gould. Dana
He's the
Gould,
best.
comedian Dana
So
Gould.
funny.
So, man, it is, because Dana Gould, I love Dana Gould. But if you watch some of those old specials of comedy, even the comics, you didn't realize it because you've seen them now and they've changed with time. Man, old comedy specials don't hold up.
They really don't. And although I was, some of them do, but even you're rounding down. Mm-hmm. That's because times change. That's all there is to it. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I'm trying to think of the joke too. There's a joke he did, and it just came off like wildly homophobic through the prism of today when it came to, I think it was like being born gay or something like that, or some take on being born gay that came out in 97. And that's like 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Is it 20 years? Yeah, 20 years ago. 22 years ago. And you listen to it going like, man, I know that for the time that wasn't even offensive, but if that resurfaced now, someone would be like, Dana Gould, homophobe.
Sure.
which is, I mean, that happens to comics a lot.
I mean, I make this joke a lot. It's like, I'm not worried about people coming after me for homophobic, racist, sexist things because I am not famous. So I'm not scared that somebody's going to be digging through. Like,
Right.
How much free time do you have to go looking through my Twitter account, looking for ammo to take me down for no reason? But the second something big happens, I'm just going to delete that account. I'm just deleting it because I'm not going to deal with it.
yeah, I feel like that's the move. You almost have to, if you're a PR person, you almost have to say, hey, you made it. Now we're going to scrub your entire social media. You can still have the handle, but
I have no people who have made it in show business who literally the first thing I said, I was like, man, I bet you went through your Twitter account. And eyes wide were like, oh, yeah, I scoured that thing looking for things that were offensive. Because that's what's going to happen. The second they're going to look for a reason to take you down when you were making a joke at the time.
And even the irony of that is that of the whole situation is the person who's combing through your Twitter to get screenshots of you making a joke that by today's standards in terms of political correctness and the environment and everyone having a voice and things going viral, they're not doing that because they really are offended. They're doing that because they want a viral tweet. Like, they want a tweet to go crazy viral. They want to have a blog where it's like, when they comb through the Twitters of like some athletes that, get drafted first and then all of a sudden they go back to when they were 13 years old tweeting to nobody. Those are the tweets that would get. I don't think any of mine are bad. But then again,
I know mine are. I know it.
I didn't know. I wasn't tweeting at anybody. I didn't have a following. I don't know how anyone followed me to begin with. Do you ever think about how weird that is? I started at Twitter, and for probably 2 years, I was just firing off statements to no followers.
Oh, yeah.
Just tweeting out in the world, just like an old grandpa on a rocking chair.
And a lot of them don't make sense. A lot of them are unfunny. That's just the way it is. You were just creating at the time and then trying to figure out this medium, And my sense of humor, I admit it was different. Like, I still like certain jokes, but I don't write the certain way. My last album, I listened to it and I'm like, this is if you didn't know me, you would think this is a pretty sexist album. But then, that has changed so much from what I've written in this upcoming album.
Trying to think back, I was very hypersensitive to jokes that would be considered offensive, especially when it comes to topics about rape and stuff, which I think is totally fine to be sensitive about those things. My mom one time brought up a joke. It was a joke. Eventually, it was a joke. Ended up me being sexually assaulted in the joke or something. It was like a misdirection. I don't even remember. I'm glad I don't remember because it was an awful joke in terms of great structurally, but just in terms of just creativity, not great. And my mom was like, why did you tell that joke? I'm like, you heard it. That joke kills. It really crushed. She's like, yeah, but I mean, is it worth it? You have better jokes. I just don't know if I'd have a joke where the punchline ends up being something about rape. And I was like, well, Mom, I'm not saying anything bad about, anybody or anything. It's kind of just a misdirection. And she goes, I know, but what if just one person was, they'd been sexually assaulted and they heard it and then they just didn't, just kind of ruined the show and maybe their life for a while and they had, maybe they had worked hard to get over those things and they didn't know that something so traumatic was going to be brought up in a comedy show. Would you be okay knowing that happened? And I'm like, why do you got to be a mom right now?
I mean, we run the risk, if you're a comic, you run the risk of offending anybody who's been through any sort of experience.
Yeah, well, I same with radio, too, when you start talking. And I'd even say I'm more cognizant of what I say on stage than when I'm on the air. Because when I'm on
Really?
Well, here's the reason why. Because
I think the other way around.
If I'm talking about something I'm prepared to speak on, definitely. If I have a show sheet, which I did not do today because I've been busy, so now you're kind of winging it, right? And you're improvising, and part of good radio is getting people's authentic reactions to things. Like a story where you're like, whoa, really? Oh, this is how I feel about it. Not having a chance to go back and rehearse it in your head and think your thoughts through. Now, some things you need to have a coherent thought for when it comes to news talk and things like that. But so sometimes when I'm on the air, I'll say something, but it comes out in a way wow, I know that wasn't really what. I mean, in the after, it's usually after someone nails you with an email.
Right.
I thought that you guys, the way you were belittling this topic was very offensive to me, or the way that you guys laughed at, body image, or one time I said, I was saying something I took, and I was just being honest in the moment. I just said, I never want to know who my ex has slept with because I don't want to be like see him be like, oh, that fat gross guy. And then someone was like, well, you said fat gross guy, like it's all fat gross to you, Brian. And I was like, well, no. But in the moment, I was just speaking with like from a point of emotion, I guess, in the moment. Now, thinking about it when you see it in print, you're like, well, no, that's not what I meant. I just meant like I don't want to know. I don't want to like think less of her for hooking up with somebody who I'm like traditionally wouldn't be attracted to. That doesn't mean that all fat guys are gross. So in that moment, if I could take that back, I would. But now it's out there. That's live radio. It's not rehearsed or anything.
Right.
So like stand up, I have a moment to go through my act and be like, well, I definitely would edit that. But I feel like it's more Twitter oriented. Where you're like in the moment, this is how I react, and then people look at you like, "Wow, that was terrible."
I'm definitely way more cognizant on Twitter than I was, say, 7 years ago.
Well, yeah, Ryan, because you're about to be famous.
Oh, I better delete my account.
Once this entire show takes off.
Find Nearly Informed on Instagram and Twitter @NearlyInformed.
And don't take anything we say on those platforms on Nearly Informed super serious.
Please don't. Do something productive with your life. Don't take everything so serious. Don't be a person scouring Twitter accounts looking for reasons to be offended. I can't believe you would spend a second of your life looking for something to make you upset on purpose.
I will say that from a lot of the stuff that's happened lately with like Kevin Hart and stuff, it almost seems like if Kevin Hart had ignored it instead of like his walk back half apology, I'm not going to apologize, I will apologize, I've changed. Like he kind of like went all over the place. I feel like if you just ignore things, if you just give it 15, 20 hours, Trump is going to blow up the Twitter cycle. It's all over.
Yeah. That guy is just throwing grenades in the Twitter stream.
I mean, every once in a while he'll just come through with, he did it today. He came through with the beautiful Midwest is freezing and all this blah, blah, blah. Oh, it'd sure be nice to have a little bit of that global warming everyone's talking about.
This is the best.
And I'm like, with all this stuff going on in this country, with the shutdown, with all these different things that are happening in the news, and he's just going to roll out that sarcastic, global warming tweet.
I mean, the guy, you got to give it to him. The guy loves to stoke up an inferno.
I think that I did watch this Roger Stone documentary. Have you seen the documentary on Roger Stone?
Mm-mm.
Roger Stone is the reason that he approached the campaign the way he did. Aggressively, never say sorry. The concept of a tweet being ratioed, which in any other realm of the world is terrible for you. Like if you have a tweet that's awful, and ratioed means that the ratio of likes to comments to retweets is just way off, where you've got 3 times more comments than you do retweets or likes. But for Trump, that global warming tweet, when I saw it this morning, 84,000 comments, 100,000 likes, and 10,000 retweets or whatever. But 84,000 comments to anyone else in the world would be devastating. You'd be sitting there reading through your comments with tears in your eyes. Like, I'm never going to recover from this. I'm going to be sitting here all day emotionally cutting myself.
Does Trump actually follow anyone on Twitter?
He follows all his organizations. He follows his political entities. He follows people in his family. But I can't imagine he's got any other time but to just fire off tweet. I can't imagine he just cruising his mentions.
That's my thing is I honestly somehow don't believe it's all him tweeting.
I definitely isn't when
There's no way you have time to do that. There's no way you have time to do all those tweets.
I mean, I've heard he's got a rogue phone that he just has. That it's just his Twitter phone. He's got a Twitter burner. Like they have a phone for him that they've got their secure
Twitter
phone.
Burner.
They've got
it's an old sidekick.
This is I almost said Suzuki. What is it? The T-Mobile sidekick with the slider door.
Yeah.
Oh man,
my friends love those.
I mean, how cool did everyone feel when the first person to have that and just flip it open? And you're like, oh, man.
The next day, you just break that screen right off the whole thing.
The thing was also the size of a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Just humongous. No, I've heard unverified stories, probably a little bit of fake news in this, but it's still funny to think about, is that he's got a secure phone. That's the one that, government officials hit him up on, or he can be patched through to other foreign dignitaries and leaders. Then he's got a personal, a burner phone that's only for like Twitter, and he's got another phone he uses just for communication, but he's got a Twitter phone, which I want to know what that one looks like specifically. Because I picture him being a guy who needs buttons.
Yeah.
I don't see him being a touchscreen guy. He's in his 70s.
With the amount of misspellings he has, those big thumb or those small hand thumbs.
I mean, he's got hammer. I mean, they're hammer thumbs.
Yeah,
big old nubs.
He's got to have calluses on him for all the tweets that are going out there.
I mean, I picture him like I do my dad, where my
on
dad
the toilet.
My
That's
dad
where
needs
I
buttons.
picture a lot of him on the toilet.
That's where that global warming tweet came from.
Yeah.
Well, it sure be nice for that global warming to kick in here. It's minus 40 in Chicago. You might be losing your grandparents.
Just deucing.
All right, so Ryan, I started this 10-day probiotic cleanse.
I mean, what was going on with your tummy that you thought? I've never even thought to do this.
I'll tell you what. It was
cleanse I have heard of. Juice cleanse I have done.
Yeah.
Probiotic cleanse? What was going on in your bathroom that made you do this?
It wasn't my bathroom as much as it was, well, it was a little bit. It was more like the frequency of having, like I took a dump like 5 times when I was in Atlanta for 2 days.
Yeah, that's the diet.
And it felt like my stomach just felt all gross. And I think this is what happens. I've traveled back to Atlanta every weekend so far in January, which is too many. I told my girlfriend, this is too many weekends because I'm not getting, it's just hard for me to stay in a routine. I'll eat healthy all week. I was doing vegan. I still pretty much am doing vegan except, well,
Forget about it. What are you talking about? I told you not to do this.
I know. Listen, Atlanta vegan, I've realized vegan in Atlanta
French
means
fries.
that nothing's deep fried. You can have meat, but it just can't be fried. Anyways, so I felt like my system's been all out of whack, and on Monday I just felt it felt like somebody stuck an air hose in me and was like, just like I felt gross. My stomach hurt, so I went, after the show wrapped on Monday, I went over to Rite Aid, and I started looking at cleanses and started reading about probiotics on my phone. And then, of course, I got suckered by the old, like, hey, man, this is a $30 10-day cleanse. It's the different probiotics and different activators and different stomach mixtures, and you take different times a day. But, hey, it's $30 discounted to $12.99. And I was like, I got a $30 cleanse. Here we go. But I was reading on the back, and the back it just had all, like, the litany of, hey, if this happens, if this happens, if this happens, stop doing it immediately. Most of them were all like, oh, yeah, explosive diarrhea or anal leakage, which anal leakage sounds like the most terrifying symptom I've ever heard in my life.
I've had a friend who had it in front of me.
What, it just leaks?
It just leaks.
You don't even know?
Yeah, it was one of the more embarrassing. We were at his model home. He's a real estate guy, and he was taking one of these diet drugs, and one of the side effects was exactly what you're saying. And I remember he got up, and I was like, "Oh my God, you were sweating super bad in your crack." And he's a bigger dude, so he has a huge behind.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh no, that's the leakage from this thing I'm taking right now." And yeah, it's just grease. It's grease. It basically is turning your food into grease, and it'll fall out of you.
Because gravity.
Yeah.
Gravity, your butt's like, what?
Awesome.
That's so terrible.
I know. Don't do this.
Well,
why are you doing it?
Listen, I feel, after 20...
I don't do anything with that as a side effect. Did you know that? I do nothing.
Really?
No, I do nothing.
Listen, we were just talking about you having to get your first haircut because your hair is regrown.
That's right. I poured enough drugs on my head that my hair grew
What
back.
what drugs are they?
It is, I take Propecia and then I spray on Rogaine, both bought illegally and cheaply from Mumbai.
I don't care. On the internet,
Sorry.
I've talked before on the show that I have a laser helmet that it was like $500. It was an infrared laser helmet.
Was it given it? Was somebody gave it to you as a promotion?
No,
you
I
paid
just
for that.
Well, here's the thing: I needed tax write-offs for my business, and someone told me because you're in show business, you can write off laser helmets. So I bought a laser helmet. Hey man, listen, the science behind it sounds legit.
Did you take a before picture?
I have not. No.
Why didn't you take it before? I'm rooting for it to work.
I feel like all I got to do is
don't think it is.
scroll back on my phone. and I'll see a before picture.
Oh man.
So I've got a laser space helmet.
How often do you use the laser helmet?
You're supposed to use it every other day because they don't you can't trust the infrared on your scalp every day.
You should make the laser helmet like a drinking helmet with like the 2 cup holders on
like
the side.
One Homer Simpson wears.
Yeah.
You come in I'm like, Brian, what are you drinking? I've just got nothing but Schlitz malt liquor inside. I'm like, I'm just regrowing my hair with malt liquor and lasers right now.
This is Nearly Informed with Brad and Brian.
It's Nearly Informed. Ryan Dalton's in.
Sitting in for Brad again.
I know, man. Brad's just too busy trying to fly airplanes, and family's always getting sick. Wait, so you're going to get your first haircut in how long?
Oh my God, I couldn't tell you. It's been at least 2 years.
Because you've been wearing a hat most of the time you've been over in the studio for the show.
Yeah, the headphones mess up your hair.
And they do. But then when we all lived together, 5-6 years ago, I think you were keeping it way shorter.
Yeah, because I was doing what every guy does. But when they start losing more hair, you just keep. I was shaving it down.
Right, you just get more hats.
But then it all started when we first got to Los Angeles. I took a picture. We were sitting in a restaurant, and then first of all, I have white hair. I have like white hair, and then on top of it, Ashley looked at my hairline. She's like, "We got to stop this. This is ridiculous. Like, you have no hair. It is crazy. Like, you want to be in show business and you have zero hair."
Yeah, you got.
I'm not saying that you can't be. There's a certain amount of actors that are bald that are very successsul.
Sure,
but there's like 3 of them. Okay,
yeah,
let's call that what it is.
I mean, come on.
There's
no
3 of them.
What heartthrobs are bald?
The Rock.
But he does it on
Vin
purpose.
Diesel.
Don't you think he does it on purpose? See, I think those guys choose to be bald because they think it makes them look badass.
I don't think so at all. I think if they had dope hair, they would just have hair.
Now I couldn't even picture the Vin Diesel with hair.
Yeah.
He just looked like such a doofus.
John Travolta finally just said, "I'm going to take this wig off."
No way.
And you know what? God bless him for it.
Did
he looked
really?
handsome, and he looked like a badass.
Let me see this.
He did it, and I respect that move. That way, nobody can come at him. That was a smart move. People used to goof on him all the time for that stuff, and now he did it, and nobody can goof on him now. It was a good move,
right,
and he looks good. Bald.
I guess Bruce Willis
looks like a scary dad.
Bruce Willis is he's done it.
Yeah,
there he is. You're right, John Travolta finally decided.
Looks good, right?
Wow, that happened a week ago.
Yeah, where were you, man?
I mean, I don't subscribe. I prescribe. I don't subscribe. I don't subscribe to anything. That's such an old reference.
Yeah.
Subscription. Hey Ryan, what's your subscription to Bald Guy Magazine? I was gonna go for the biggest dad joke in history. I don't subscribe to Bald Action Stars in Hollywood Weekly. Of course, that's a weekly publication.
Right.
So, what how's it feel like? Because it looks good, man. I noticed it when we were sitting in the studio or in the office, and you said that you were going to get your first haircut, and you don't know how long. And I was like, whoa.
And I'm nervous because I don't. I mean, look, there's not a lot of guy hairstyles.
Nah.
But I want it to at least look good and have some length on top, and I'm nervous.
I just
where
go. I go 4 on the sides.
But do you have a guy?
Blending on top. I just go to the same place every time. I go to Floyd's. Floyd's on Melrose.
That's right.
And everyone in there has tattoos. And they all just they just kick ass. I feel like
it does have an atmosphere about it, Floyd's.
For some reason, I feel like if your stylist has tattoos, or your hair, or whoever's cutting your hair, like they know what they're doing.
They're banking on that,
right?
Floyd's is banking on that. You think they're cool because they have tattoos.
Yeah, and if you have a cool life, then you know what cool hair is. Of course, you're not going to screw my hair up.
Right.
Now, I've had some bad haircuts. Those have usually come from places that have cuts in the name. Super nifty, quick. I mean,
there's actually, I think, a Supercuts across the street from me, and I was debating, but it's also like, this is my first haircut,
one. No,
and I kind of want it to look good.
I've realized that there is a point to spending the money on haircuts, and for a guy's haircut, I'm ranging.
Floyd's isn't cheap.
Nah, it's $30. Well, 25, but then I tip him $5.
Yeah,
I think that's
I think
it's a reasonable tip. Right?
That's not bad then.
Some days I do 10.
30's not bad.
No, it's not. But here's what I do like about them. If the stylist cutting my hair references like, oh, is it okay if I do this with the top? It'll kind of complement your hairline. I'm like, oh, let me translate. You said I got a jacked up hairline and because of it, older, receding,
right.
Thinning, whatever. Mm-hmm. And you're willing to cut my hair to hide that? $10 tip.
Wow.
I'll take the honesty.
Or that's one way to look at it is that, I messed up a little bit. How can I compliment this new mess up?
I've never thought of it that way.
I do.
I've heard people mess up my hair. I've heard that. That happened to me once. I went to a place I was living in Chinatown in Seattle, and I went to this place because the lady was super sweet, and I went there once. It was like they charged me $7, and I was like, man, this is great. And they don't use any scissors. It's
Did
all
they try
clippers.
to get you on that shampoo scam?
No, they didn't do that.
I always
do
try to
you
get
do
me.
you do the shampoo scam?
No.
I like the places that do the shampoo for free.
I'll shampoo, and then I'll come in. Hair's ready to go.
Well, right. Listen, dude. I'm going to tell you've been out of the game for a while.
I have been out
I'm
of
going
the
to tell you, man, the shampoo at a nice salon, they get in there, hot water. They really get in there. It's pretty nice.
The best of all time is the shave with the straight razor. For some reason, every time I go in, I've had zero sleep the night before or something. And once they put that hot shaving cream on your neck, I'm just like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, it's out. Yeah. Oh, that's how it feels. That the hot shaving cream,
Yeah.
the hot water, because the water they use is hotter than the shower than you take. Because your body can't take all the water. So it's just really hot, and they put different shampoo, and they scrub. And I'm like, I've almost fallen asleep during that a couple times. Now, generally, if they ask, I'll turn it down. But there are some salons. For some reason in Atlanta, I couldn't find a place that would cut my hair for under $70 because they always include the shampoo. That's just what it is, like $60. And I'm like, I don't really need that, but whatever. But the thing about the investing in the good place to do it is that they use scissors for sure, and especially on a men's haircut. Because the place I was going to in Chinatown, they didn't use scissors on men's hair at all.
It's all just
all clippers with and that I actually heard the clipper guard fall off one time and felt her jab into my
no.
and then she tried to act like nothing happened,
Right.
Because this lady was like not trying to get fired over gouging someone's head, and so she's like, no, you're good. And the next day I looked at it, I was like, oh my, like it looks like I lost a bet. Or I passed out
It's a radio bit.
Yeah, passed out at a frat house, which by the way, I've had that radio bit where they shaved in my head twice.
Yeah.
I've lost it.
I saw it.
I had an M for Mexico, and I had a big old LA for when the Dodgers beat the Braves. I'm not making any more of those bets.
Right.
We had a Boston radio station call us about the Rams, and they were like, hey, do you guys want to make this bet? I'm like, no. One, I don't want to lose again.
Because
I'm not losing to Boston.
You're the one who has to do it.
Right. And two, Los Angeles people wouldn't care anyway. Like this city is so weird, man. It's so strange.
The weirdest time. I think this may be the strangest Super Bowl ever in my life. We're talking about a team that has been here for 2 years. Yes, they were here once a long time ago. The majority of people have grown up, had kids, their kids. I mean, it's been a long time.
They forgot.
They forgot, and then they're just latching on this team. How can anybody be in the streets losing their minds when the LA Rams are in the Super Bowl when they've been here for 2 years?
Well, here's the thing. I agree with you on that on principle. I really feel like it takes time to build that fan base, but also, I mean, what more do the Rams have to do than come back and go to a Super Bowl? You know what I mean? I know from being on radio in Los Angeles, we've just kind of made a joke about bandwagon fans and trying to get more bandwagon fans. And the Rams were like, yeah, whatever you can do. They've embraced it, the team, which is sad. So for me, it's like I've lived in a city that's won a Super Bowl. It's super fun the whole time. I've also lived in a city that lost Super Bowl. That was a bummer. Odds are I'm going to be living in that city again here next week because I don't believe Tom Brady. I almost called him Tom Patriot.
Patriot.
Tom Patriots. When he retires, they're just going to retire the team name. They're going to be called the Bradys, New England Bradys. I don't believe Tom Brady's going to lose the Rams just because I think his personal hatred for everybody.
If the Patriots win the Super Bowl, does he stay on one more year to try to do it again, or does he retire?
I think he said he wants to play for another 2 seasons.
I mean, the thing is, he's just as good. I wish I could see the decline. Like with Peyton, at the end, he couldn't throw the long ball anymore. You could see
that injury to that surgery he had on his neck. You're just like, oh my God, he's got nothing left in that shoulder.
Defense won that last Super Bowl.
Oh, I mean, it was when Seattle played Denver in the Super Bowl that we just kind of boat raced them. You just saw a couple balls go up in the air where receivers and DBs were like, that's mine. Everyone's like, receivers are like going like, oh, they're like going to SWAT. Like you could have called offensive pass interference on so many plays and even if you got any pressure on him, he's trying to move on the run and throw. But yeah, I mean, I think Tom Brady, just the way, you know what? I don't know. Maybe he's doing this probiotic thing that I'm doing, but
yeah, having healthy dumps and.
I mean, I don't even know if he does dump. He seems like the kind of guy who's Tom
Brady has
sound.
never had anal leakage. I promise you that.
He just sounds like he feels like he's a zero waste human, where he only takes in the precise amount of anything that he needs, so that he doesn't have any waste. Like, it's just he measures it out every day. He's like, nope, I only need 9 leaves of lettuce, 2 carrots, and a little bit of ground turkey, and that's all I need for fuel for the next 4 days. Like, he's the most efficient person on the planet.
When it comes to his job, absolutely.
But have you seen his body? Like when he takes his shirt off?
It's not impressive.
It's insane. How is he a professional athlete at the top? Like, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, and he looks like he just mans a barbecue at football games. He just looks like he never played a game in his life.
I know. Seeing him actually when they do a trick play where he tries to catch the ball was very awkward because he's so slow. He's had the best offensive lines in the history of the game, protecting him for so long. I mean, he got injured once. Mm-hmm. One time. It made me like him more when he tried to catch a pass and you just saw him trip on nothing. Yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh, man, that's so me. It really is.
All right, thanks for coming in this week, Rye. What do you have coming up this week? Are you doing anything for the Super Bowl?
I was trying to go to Vegas to meet some friends, but that's not going to pan out. I'm probably going to stick around here and get together with some friends.
You know what you should do? Prepare to celebrate that Rams victory in the streets.
Oh, man, my favorite team, dude.
You've been a fan just as long as everyone else.
They're my favorite team for 15 minutes. I love them.
This is Nearly Informed. If you like this show, find it on the radio.com app and subscribe.
Did you know that 90% of small businesses don't offer their employees a 401k? Guideline is on a mission to change that. Join the thousands of small businesses and startups that choose Guideline for their 401k plans. Guideline is affordable, easy to manage, and the best part? It's free to start. Give your employees the 401k they deserve. Visit Guideline.com for details. That's Guideline.com.
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Old moon, yeah. That's Hugo, tickling the ivories. He just saved by bundling home and auto with Progressive. Gonna finally buy a ring for that gal of yours, Hugo? Send her my condolences. Hi-oh! This next one's for you two. There's a burglar in my heart. Thank you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.